So these young gentlemen, Shane and Nick, were on Medill on the Hill last quarter, which is a program Medill does in Washington, D.C.
Woo!
Awesome, it is. So can you tell us, what were you doing there?
Well, we were basically in a newsroom with 20 other kids our age for a full quarter, kind of just doing what professional journalists do-ish, because we were still 19 or 20, but we had congressional press passes. We'd go to the Capitol, we'd report on stuff.
It was really an abuse of power, is what it was. Giving children the same access that the New York Times has to the Capitol is just...
You had the same access as the Times?
That's, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, essentially we did, which is upsetting. For, you know, the reasons that we are children.
Did you see famous politicians everywhere? Hanging around the Hill, if you will?
Not everywhere. I mean, like, who did you run into?
I saw John McCain once.
Yeah.
I stood next to him. I was close enough to, like, I saw his hearing aid. That was the highlight of that trip. Really, he's impressive in person. He looks strong and senatorial.
Really? He looks strong? And I think of McCain as so frail.
Feeble old man blowing them. No. He has an impressive presence. You understand. Like, you look at him, he comes around the corner. I thought lights came up in the room when he walked down the hall. That's my assessment. I don't know. He looks like a man who ran for president, in my opinion.
And lost.
And lost. I'm sure if you mentioned that, his whole, like, the lights would go out and he'd become shriveled.
I saw Lin-Manuel Miranda. I know, yeah, that's the reaction I thought I'd get.
I think 10 theater majors just
I
died
know.
in the crowd.
Yeah,
And strokes.
he didn't perform. He was there performing at the White House, but then he did a thing at the Capitol about a Puerto Rican debt restructuring bill, and he gave a speech. And during the speech, he said, you know, I'll do whatever it takes to get this bill passed, even if it means, you know, I know a guy who can get you free Hamilton tickets or something like that.
Did he wrap his speech?
No, he didn't. But
I feel like that man just must rap everything. I just can't imagine him speaking ever. Just everywhere he walks.
Well, people don't listen if he doesn't rap. Like, Puerto Rican debt restructuring, people just tune out until they hear the phrase "free Hamilton tickets."
Exactly.
Like, oh,
yeah.
Like,
what
we're
was
on
it?
But it's very cool that it timed out where it's, you know, like election season and you guys were out there, and of course, Trump is everywhere.
he is everywhere.
And was in D.C. also while you were there.
Yeah, well, obviously it was a very strange time. It's just weird. Like 2016 is probably the weirdest stretch of months, I think, politically in a very long time. And Nick didn't, but I went with a few other reporters to South Carolina, and we saw, one of them's, there he is.
What's his name?
His name is Nico. There he is. Hi, Nico. We went to South Carolina. We saw everyone, saw Trump, saw Jeb Bush, which was cool because the entire quarter we have kind of been, Nick and I kind of had a fascination with Governor Bush the whole quarter.
I can't believe can I say you have an obsession with Jeb Bush? Is that fair?
It's a little strong, but I mean, yeah.
But of all the candidates this season, can I call it a season? I don't want to get a Medill F. Of all the candidates, I call them contestants. It's like, this is an election, not a
It
pageant.
feels more like Survivor sometimes, so yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, so all the candidates, not contestants, of all the candidates, to have an obsession with Jeb Bush is pretty ironic, because he's the most vanilla, definitely, of all of them.
He's like, I think like the most obvious choice, I think, in my mind, is Ben Carson, because he has the mystique of insanity about him. You never know. But like Jeb Bush, like he brings out vulnerability. Like you feel pain when you look at Jeb Bush. Like,
Yeah.
if you like took like a dog, like a small dog,
except it's made out of bread dough. And then you put glasses on it, and then you tell him, you're going to run for president now. And that's
Yeah, I mean, the other thing with Jeb is on paper, he's probably the most qualified of all. He was a governor, he knows policy really well, but he just doesn't have. He doesn't have that. I kind of thought of it, the Republican field, when we were down there, as kind of like the Breakfast Club, almost, where you have Rubio's kind of the jock, and Ted Cruz is kind of like the Ted Cruz. Donald Trump's kind of, louder, brasher, or whatever. And Jeb is kind of the nerd, the wonky guy. And I think a lot of reporters kind of were nerds and stuff. And so it's kind of, I think, a little bit hard to see the voters so strongly reject. And I mean strongly reject.
I don't know. I think Jeb Bush has more game than you're giving him credit. We have a clip of how smooth he is. Can we roll the clip, please?
I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country, to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
See, I think you're being a little tough on him. I think that's a guy who knows how to command a crowd. He's like Prince up there. Too soon?
very earnest is his thing. I think what it is, he plays it all on the field. Like, you know exactly what's going on with Jeb Bush. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And so he just leaves himself open to so much pain.
All right, well, thank you boys so much for coming out. It was great talking with you. Please clap.